Okay, geometry students, in this video we will be learning how to construct figures using only a compass, a protractor, and a straight edge. So go ahead and get these tools out now at this time, please, if you would. I'm going to pause a second while you do that. And by the way, in most of the videos I make, I do not pause and give you time to write things down. I just expect the supervising teacher to pause the video. In this video, though, we're going to be writing down a lot of steps, and so I am going to be pausing the video, and not pausing, I'm going to be waiting for you and giving you a little bit of extra time to be writing down these steps. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause a second now while you get out your compass, your protractor, and your straight edge. So go ahead and get these tools out. We'll be using these today, and we're going to be doing something that's pretty cool. We're going to be copying angles, cutting angles in half, copying segments, cutting them in half, and doing that without really measuring anything. So it's going to be a pretty interesting lesson. Go ahead and copy this heading in your notes if you would, please. I would like you to copy down the word constructions and then lesson 1.7. Okay, students, I'm back. Hopefully I've taken care of that dialog box permanently. So here we go. Constructions lesson 1.7, and also write down today's date if you would, please. Quickly copy down today's date so that you have that in your notes. Okay, and let's continue on. We're going to learn today how to do 4 constructions. 4, okay? Go ahead and copy this in your notes if you would, please. We're going to start off by looking at construction number 1. Please copy that down, and it's called copying a segment. Okay, copying a segment, and then go ahead and draw this segment. Leave a little bit of space here for the steps that I'm going to give you when it comes to copying a segment, and go ahead and draw a segment down here and label that segment AB. I will pause just a second while you do that. Again, construction number 1, copying a segment. Okay, all right, let's continue on. Go ahead and copy down step number 1 if you would, please. I want you to draw a segment that is longer than the segment you are copying and put a point C on the end point of this segment. So I'm going to pause a second while you copy that down. I'm going to read it again. Go ahead and copy this in your notes if you would, please. Draw a segment that is longer than the segment you are copying and put point C on the end point of this segment. Okay, please copy this step down. Then if you want to go ahead and do that step on your own, you can, or you can wait for me. That's up to you. Draw a segment that is longer than the segment you are copying and put point C on the end point. Okay, so go ahead and do that this time if you would. Take your straight edge and draw a segment that is noticeably longer than the segment you are copying. Okay, you do want it to be longer than the segment you are copying. Okay, and put point C on the end. All right, let's continue on. Now, I want you to write down step 2. Open up the compass. Now, the compass, of course, is this device right here, okay? Open up the compass to the length of the segment you are copying, okay? Open up the compass to the length of the segment you are copying. So in other words, we're trying to copy this segment right here. So I want you to take your compass, and you can put your needle here and then open up your compass so your pencil is on point B, or you can do that vice versa. You can put your needle on point B and open up your compass so that your pencil is on point A. However you choose to do it is fine. It does not matter, but make sure that your compass is open to the length of the segment you are copying. Okay, and be sure and not bump your compass when you lift it up. Okay, you want to make sure it stays open to the length of AB. All right, okay, go ahead and copy down step 3 if you would, please. I want you now to pick up the compass and put the needle on point C, and then put a mark on the segment. Label this mark point D. All right, go ahead and copy that in your notes. Pick up the compass, put the needle on point C, and then put a mark on the segment. Label this mark point D. And let me say now also, students, I know I'm pausing a little bit for you to copy these steps down, but if I'm still going too fast, just let your supervising teacher know and they will pause the video when you want them to pause it, okay? One more time very quickly. Step 3, pick up the compass, put the needle on point C, and then put a mark on the segment. Label this mark point D. So it should look like this if you've done it correctly. You should put your needle on point C right here, and then take your pencil and put a little mark right here through your segment. And obviously, according to step 3, we're going to label that point D. Now, by the way, on a test or a quiz, you can choose to use whatever letters you want to use. I'm just now, for the sake of notes, letting you know what letters to put down so that we all consistently use the same letters so you know what points I'm talking about, okay? But you could use whatever letters you want to use. So again, pick up your compass, put the needle on point C, put a slash here, and label this intersection point point D. Now, if you've done this correctly, the length of this segment here from A to B should be, let's just pretend it's 2 inches. That should be the exact same length from point C to point D, 2 inches, if you've done it correctly. Now, I know that your segment might not be 2 inches. You understand, though, your two segments should be the same measurement, okay? And by the way, a lot of students like to erase this extra part here hanging off the segment. Please don't do that, because I really want to see that on tests and quizzes so that I know you've done it the correct way. So please leave that there, okay? And then lastly, step 4, I like to always write this down so students know what they've done. Remember, segment AB should be the same length as segment CD. So we're going to write segment, that's what this little line right here means, segment AB is congruent, and that's what this little symbol right here means. It means congruent or equal to, okay? Segment AB is congruent to segment CD. They are congruent, okay? So construction number 1 done. Please copy this last part here in your notes, and let's continue on to construction number 2. All right, construction number 2 reads as follows. We are going to, just like we copied a segment, now we're going to copy an angle. Let me back up real quick to show you something. What was really neat about this is we did not get out a ruler and measure this length and then measure this length down here. We simply used a straight edge and a compass, and we're going to do the exact same thing now with this angle, okay? We are going to copy an angle without using your protractor. And of course, your protractor is this device right here that measures angles, okay? And we're not going to use that. We're simply going to use a straight edge and a compass, and we're going to copy this angle. So write that in your notes if you would, please. Construction number 2, copying an angle, and then go ahead and copy this angle in your notes. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, just somewhat similar, and we're going to call this point right here point B, okay? Okay, let's continue on. Please copy step 1 in your notes. I want you to draw a ray and label the vertex. And by the way, this really should be endpoint, so don't use the word vertex. I like to use the right words, and really this should be endpoint. So fix that in your notes, please. Thank you. Draw a ray and label the endpoint with point D. Please write that in your notes. Draw a ray and label the endpoint with point D. Okay, now if you do that correctly, it should look like this. So go ahead and draw that in your notes. Here's my ray. I have my endpoint here. I drew a line and I put an arrow on the end. We call this a ray. Okay, so go ahead and draw your ray and label the endpoint with point D. All right, go ahead and copy down point 2, or excuse me, step 2. I want you to open your compass up to about half the length of the angle you're copying. Now, I'll explain that in a second, but it does not have to be exactly half at all. That's just kind of a point of reference, so don't worry about that. But go ahead and copy step 2 down. You want to open the compass up to about half the length of the angle you are copying. And again, it does not have to be exactly half. That's just a point of reference, okay? I'm going to pause a second while you copy this down, then we're going to continue on. Okay, now I think with my compass, I opened mine up to about this wide right here. I think I put my pen here and I put my pencil about right here, so it wasn't quite half, but that's not a big deal. Again, go ahead at this time and open up your compass to the length. When I say about half of the angle, I mean about half of a ray right here in your angle, okay? So I put my pencil here, my pen right here, and I put my pencil about right here, and it really doesn't matter. Just somewhere in that area is fine. But whatever you do, once you open up your compass to this length, don't move it and leave it exactly where it is, okay? All right, so step 3 is this. Go ahead and copy this down. Place your needle on point B and make a circle. Label the intersection points A and C. Then place your needle on point D and make a circle. Call the intersection point E. Okay? So I'm going to pause a second while you copy that down. Place your needle on point B, make a circle, label the intersection points A and C. Place the needle on point D, make a circle, and call the intersection point E. Okay, I'm going to continue on. And if you're not done copying down step 3, then go ahead and just keep doing that while I'm talking. So what I'm going to do is this. If you do step 3 correctly, it should look like this. It should look like that, okay? So I opened my compass up, I made a circle with my needle on point B, and I made the same circle with my needle on point D. And I've labeled these 2 points over here, A and C, and I've labeled this point here, point E. Now here's why that's real important. If you've done this correctly, please listen to me, students. If you've done this correctly, the length here of BC from B to C should be the exact same length as the length of DE. Okay? All right, let's continue on. Now step number 4 should look like this. Open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and C. Let me say that again. Open up the compass to the length of the distance between points A and C. I'm going to pause a second while you copy that down. Open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and C. Okay, now if you do step 4 correctly, it should look like, well, first of all, you open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and C. So your needle should be here on C and your pencil should be on A, or vice versa. Put your needle on point A and put your pencil on point C. So this distance right here is how far your compass should be opened, okay? And then step 5 says, place your needle on point E and make a slash through the circle. Label this intersection point F, okay? So I'm going to pause a second while you copy down step 5. Place the needle on point E and make a slash through the circle. Label this intersection point F. Place your needle on point E, make a slash through the circle, label this intersection point F. Okay, continue to copy that down while I move on. So if you put your needle on point E and you make a slash on the circle, either your slash was up here, which is fine, or your slash was down here, which is fine. Either one is fine. I did mine like this. I put my slash up here and I called this point F. So be sure and label that point F. Okay? Okay, moving on. Now let's go ahead and copy down step 6. Simply draw ray DF. And by the way, that's what this symbol means right here. It means ray. Okay? I want you to draw ray DF. Draw ray DF. So copy that step down, please. Draw ray DF, and then go ahead and do that. And look what I've done here. I drew ray DF. Just forgot my arrow on the end, but there we go. Draw ray DF. Okay, pretty simple. With your straight edge, go ahead and draw ray DF. And now in the end here, let me go back a page here. Let me show you this. Now that we've done this, let's pretend this angle right here was 25 degrees. Well, if this angle right here was 25 degrees, and again, I'm just guessing, what is this angle also right here? 25 degrees. So I'd like you to write down step 7 right here, and it would be this. Angle FDE, and this is the symbol for angle right here, and we call it angle FDE, is congruent to angle what? Well, angle ABC. Angle ABC. Okay? So we copy an angle, the two angles are now congruent. Okay? And that's pretty cool. We copied an identical angle without using a protractor and without measuring the angle at all. Okay? All right, let's move on now to construction number 3. And we are going to bisect a segment. So please copy that in your notes. We are going to bisect a segment. Copy that down, and then go ahead and somewhere in your notes, go ahead and draw a segment AB. Now, when I say that we're going to bisect a segment, what I'm saying is we're going to find the exact middle of that segment, okay? And we're going to draw a segment or a line right through that midpoint, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this segment in half. We're going to bisect it, okay? So here we go. Go ahead and copy down step 1. I want you to open up your compass so that it is obviously longer than half of segment AB. And of course, this symbol here means segment, okay? So go ahead and copy that in your notes if you would, please. I want you to open up your compass so that it is obviously longer than half of AB, okay? Open up your compass so that it is obviously longer than half of AB. So your needle should be here and your pencil should be about right here, or vice versa. You could put your needle here and then put your pencil about right here. Just make sure your compass is opened up to more than half of the segment AB. Now copy down step 2 if you would, please. I want you to place your compass on point A and draw a circle. Then place your compass on point B and draw a circle. Make sure you're leaving your compass open to that same opening that you had at the beginning. Don't change that, okay? And label these two intersection points C and D. Now you're probably saying, Mr. Earhart, what intersection points are you talking about? And I will show you those in just a second. But right now, just copy down step 2. Place your compass on point A and draw a circle. Copy that down. Place your compass on point B and draw a circle. Copy that down. And then label the two intersection points C and D. Okay? I'm going to pause for a couple more seconds while you copy that in your notes. If you're done copying step 2 in your notes, then go ahead and do step 2 on your own. Go ahead and draw your two circles. All right, now let's continue on. Here's what it should look like when you draw the two circles. It should look like this. Now, do understand, students, that your circles might be a little larger or a little smaller than mine, but nonetheless, they should intersect. And so the two places where your two circles intersect, we're going to call those intersections points C and D. Okay, so we'll put a C up here and a D up here. All right, moving on to step 3. Please copy step 3 in your notes. Draw segment CD. Label the intersection point E. Draw segment CD and then label the intersection point E. I'm going to pause a second while you copy that down. And then go ahead and do step 3 on your own if it makes sense to you. Draw segment CD and label the intersection point E. So it should look like this if you've done it correctly. There we go. I drew my segment CD and I labeled this intersection point E right here. Okay? Now, by the way, students, if I've done this correctly, E is going to be right in the middle of AB. Okay, E is going to be right in the middle. So in other words, the distance from A to E is going to be the same as the distance from B to E. E should be right in the middle of your segment. And isn't that pretty cool? What you just did without measuring the segment and then cutting it in half and trying to find the middle, without measuring the segment, you have been able to find the middle of the segment just by using a compass and a straight edge, okay? So lastly, for step number 4, I would like you to write segment AE, which is the segment right here, is congruent to segment EB. And that's a true statement. If E is truly in the middle, then AE is congruent to EB. Okay? I'll give you just a second to copy that down. We're going to move on to construction number 4, the last one, in just a second. So you've done really well today. And you know, while you're putting your finishing touches on this construction number 3, let me point out to you that the constructions, the steps themselves are really easy to understand. They're not difficult. However, memorizing these steps, and no, I'm not going to make you write them on a test or a quiz, but knowing how to do these on your own is where it becomes difficult, okay? And you're going to have to study these and make sure you know how to do these constructions on your own. Okay, moving on to construction number 4. Okay, students, go ahead and copy construction number 4 into your notes. Write down construction 4, bisecting an angle. So we're going to take this angle right here, and by the way, in your notes, go ahead and draw this angle, angle B. We're going to cut this angle in half. Now pretend for a second this angle is 30 degrees. What we're going to do is we're going to draw a ray that goes right down the middle, and we'll have two little angles. This one will be 15 degrees and this one will be 15. Of course, I'm just assuming the angle is 30 degrees. I don't know that for sure, okay? So with that in mind, I want you to go ahead and copy down the words construction number 4, bisecting an angle, and then go ahead and draw this angle in your notes. And we're going to do this without using a protractor, okay? Go ahead and copy down step number 1. Step number 1 says, open up your compass to about half the length of one of the rays. Okay, so open up your compass to about half the length of one of the rays and place your needle on point B and draw a circle. Label the intersection points. Label the intersection points A and C. I'm going to pause while you copy that down. Go ahead and copy that in your notes, students. Open up your compass to about half the length of one of the rays. Place your needle on point B and draw a circle. Label these intersection points A and C. Okay, if you're not done copying that, go ahead and keep copying it, but listen to me while you're copying it. When I say to open up your compass to about half the length of one of the rays, you could put your needle here and put your pencil about right here. That'd be about half that ray. Or you could put your needle right here and put your pencil about right here. It does not need to be exact at all. It's just kind of a point of reference. It's just kind of a reference point, okay? So open up your compass to about half the length of one of your rays and then draw a circle. Okay, so if you do that correctly, it should look like this. Okay, pretty simple. Put your needle right here, draw your circle, and then label the intersection points, points A and C. Points A and C. All right? Okay, continuing on, let's go ahead and write down step 2. Step 2 says to open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and B. So please copy that step in your notes. I'll pause a second while you do that. Open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and B. So you should put your pencil here and your needle up here, or vice versa. Put your needle down here and put your pencil up here. Okay? Open up your compass to the length of the distance between points A and B. Please copy that step in your notes. All right? Okay, copy down step 3. Place your needle on A. This is a little confusing, so you might want to copy the step down and then wait until I show you how to do it, okay? Before you try it on your own, but that's up to you. Place your needle on point A and draw a slash inside the angle to the right. Do the same thing again, only place the needle on point C. Label the intersection point of the two slashes point D. Now I'm going to pause while you copy this step down in your notes. Again, place your needle on point A, draw a slash inside the angle to the right. Do the same thing again by placing your needle on point C, and then label the intersection point of the two slashes point D. Okay? All right. Now, if you'll look back at step 2, kind of watch what I do here. Please, students, pay attention. Now, watch this. If you'll look back at step 2, you'll see that you should have opened your compass up to the length of AC. So you put your needle here and your pencil here. After you did that, you place your needle on A, and you should have put a slash over here. Okay? And then you put your needle on C, and you should have put a slash like this. If your two slashes did not intersect, then you didn't make them long enough. And if you want to, just make them really long. You can make one of your slashes like this, and then put your needle on C, and you could make your other slash really long like that. And there's where they intersect right there. But it should look like this. Okay? Now again, you can make your two slashes as long as you want to make them, as long as they intersect. And where they intersect, we're going to call this point D. So go ahead and do that now at this time. Go ahead and put your needle on point A, draw your slash over here, put your needle on point C, draw your slash over here, and then where they intersect, we're going to call that intersection D. Okay? Okay, we're just about finished. Moving on to step 4, I want you to draw ray BD. So using your straight edge, you're going to put your pencil right here, and you're going to draw a ray that comes out, and that's not a very good example. Let me try that again. You're going to put your pencil here and draw a ray that goes through D, just like that. Okay, so it should look like this. So copy down step 4 if you would, please. Draw BD, and then it should look like this. Now what you've done is this angle right up here, I'm putting a little red mark on, is congruent to this angle down here. Remember way back at the very beginning when I said, let me go back and look if I still have that. I think I erased it, but remember back at the very beginning when I said if this whole angle is 30 degrees, then we're cutting it in half, so this is 15 and this is 15. But the main thing I want you to see is these two angles are congruent. This little angle right here with one dot and this little angle right here with one dot are congruent. So because they're congruent, we're going to write this for step 5. We're going to write angle ABD is congruent to angle DBC. Look that over and make sure you understand that, okay? Angle ABD, this angle right here I'm highlighting in red, that angle right there is congruent to this angle right here that I'm highlighting in red, because we took an angle and we cut it in half, okay? So those two angles are congruent. All right? Okay, I hope this video has been a help to you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or email. Okay, and again, what's so neat about this is we're learning how to copy segments, copy angles, cut segments in half, cut angles in half without using any measuring devices at all. We're simply just using a compass and a straight edge.